Hello, everyone. I want to talk to you today about voting and hoping that you will get out and vote. It's a privilege and it's a hard fought one that we have. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of history and encourage you by some words that I have put together. And so in 1870, when the 15th Amendment was ratified, the 15th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, giving African American men the right to vote. That was immediately fought with discriminatory practices, opposition that was fought for decades and decades and decades. And so it wasn't until the Voting Rights Act of 1965, when that came along, that outlawed or made it illegal for all of these discriminatory practices that were put into place. And so you have like the Jim Crow era where when African American men showed up at the voting polls, they were told that they showed up on the wrong day, or they showed up at the wrong time, and so they were denied the right to vote, or they were asked to recite the entire Constitution. And with hundreds of years of oppression and slavery, the ability to recite the Constitution was just not going to happen. And so there were all of this foolery that took place that the President Johnson, when he wrote or signed into law the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which is actually August 6, 1965. So we're right now up on the 55th anniversary of that. It was with, he was appalled by what he saw, particularly on March 7th, 1965, with the peaceful protesters marching on Selma on the Edmund Pettus Bridge, and that they were met with such great force with fire hoses and dogs and being beaten savagely for the right to vote, to get us the right to vote. And so there was great sacrifice. People have shed blood. People have paid the ultimate sacrifice of their life. People were hung from trees. And not just black people, we have had white peoples that have been our allies and that are our allies today as we see protesters going on. And so much like back then, when we see our protesters today being met with military force, as things have changed, a lot of things have remained the same. And so please get out and exercise your right to vote. I will tell you that with the amendment, with the Voting Rights Act of 1965, that had to be amended like annually, and then every 5 years, and then every 7 years, and now every 25 years. And so if you thought that we had the right to vote, like we just have the right to vote, you're mistaken. That has to be signed in every 25 years by the sitting president. So Congress does its thing and the sitting president signs it. And so that should cause you to pause. That should frighten you. That should cause you to want to get up and do something, get into some good trouble, as Congressman John Lewis has encouraged us to do, so that we can have the full right to vote, and not with all of this nonsense that we have to struggle constantly. And so I want to share some words with you that I wrote. Vote. To vote it's a verb. It's an expressed action. Like you have to get out and you have to do something, right? And so value your voice by finding it through the power of casting your ballot. Visualize being vindicated, set free from the unjust powers that has oppressed you when you cast your ballot. Standing steady with uninterrupted rhythm like an oscillating fan to obliterate, to utterly and completely destroy a system that threatens and poses danger to your freedoms and our democracy. Voting terminates, abolishes, adjourns that opposing system that brings you to a place of good trouble, as Congressman John Lewis has left us a call to action. Enlist in a cause today that's bigger than yourself against the established order in the quest for equality. My people, get out and vote. Vote in the primary, vote in November, and most of all, get in some good trouble. Have a blessed day.